Okay, I feel the need to make a small confession here. All will be revealed very shortly. Secured following a little weekend excursion to Wakefield. I'm going to be having a little bike fit now, just to make sure I get the new one set up correctly. And I'd be also interested to see how it compares against my setup on the Watt Bike Atom. So today is a little voyage of discovery. There are many, many lessons being learned, none of them inexpensive. So I've got a great Campagnano group set, EPS, etc., about £3,000 new. So thank you, eBay. The bad news is the crank is 175mm, and really that's way too long. For a small guy like me, I'm going to need more like 170 to 172.5, probably 170 for racing. And so that'll probably be about £1,000 mistake. There we go. So we've just calibrated the bike against the jig and put the settings into the computer, and already it's ascertained that the bars are probably a little bit too wide for the optimum grip angle for me, given that, despite my best efforts, I'm still pretty narrow. The reach here to here is very long at about 100 mils, and really it could be quite a bit shorter optimally. Something else to check out for when buying a bike off eBay, make sure it's got a bottom bracket. So see this wobbling around, I figured it might just be a case of tightening up a little bit, but no, it's actually missing the bottom bracket. So there's another little bit to add on. And in terms of replacing the handlebars, with something at 38 centimeters and a 75mm reach, that's probably going to be around about £300, maybe 250, that kind of range. So lots of little lessons being learned here. And in terms of the good news, the bottom bracket is only about an £80 replacement. So this frame is a 50S, and the jig has been set up to replicate this frame size in terms of the stack, i.e. from here up to here in terms of height, and the reach from here to here. You can see all the sensors have been applied to my body just to ensure that I'm in an optimal position in terms of reach, angle of back, whether on the hoods or a bit more tucked over, and how far I'm having to reach in terms of pressing down on the pedals. It's very, very interesting. And here's the final data on Retool in terms of the optimum setup for me regarding spacers, handlebar width, reach, the length of the crank, 170 versus 175, etc. So the bike fit's complete. It's really, really interesting, and I'll provide a bit more of a recap on that at another point. And I'm leaving the Klano C60 with Bespoke Cycling because it needs to be completed in terms of the build and a number of the components replaced. And there's a few lessons that I've learned in terms of what you need to look out for when buying your first bike. And I'm also going to do a recap on all of that at a slightly later date, out of the rain, I guess. But very, very helpful. Patricia and Bobby couldn't have been any more informative, and definitely very pleased that I've used Bespoke Cycling to help me with my next little challenge, more of which to come. So I had a bit of time to compose my thoughts, and I've got a bit of a confession to make. I'm going to be a tad over budget in terms of my first ever bike purchase. Well, quite a lot more than a tad. I bought the bike off a really nice individual, and I got no issues whatsoever with the deal. And the bike would have been a perfect bike for somebody probably a bit taller than me with a longer reach than me. And that's really where, if I'd taken a little bit more time and not rushed into things like a bill in a China shop, I'd have avoided making some pretty basic mistakes. The first being, obviously, the handlebars. Too wide, and the reach too long, and the stem too long. So that all needed replacing, and I've done so with carbon components. The second being the crank, again too long, and so I'm replacing that as well. One of the things that I didn't spot or didn't really understand was that the wheels are only compatible with Shimano group set, and my group set's obviously Campagnolo, which I understand is a good one, so again a tick in the box. And so I've decided to replace the wheels, and I've gone for a bit of an investment in terms of the wheels, which you'll see when I pick the bike up. So all things considered, I'm probably going to be about £3,000 over the cost that really I kind of been expecting to spend. But within that, as I say, there is a really big investment in the wheels, and I'll recoup some of that through selling the parts that I don't need, which are in excellent condition, should you want to buy some, on eBay. And in addition to going 3,000 over budget, within budget, I also spent £1,000 on some power pedals and a Wahoo Element Bolt computer in order to give me the data that I've been lacking historically when riding outside, and hopefully that's going to improve my cycling performance when I'm hitting the hills and the climbs and all that kind of thing. Looking forward though to seeing what the bike looks like and how it turns out, and also sharing with you what I'm going to be doing with it over the winter. So it's now time to round off what has been an extraordinarily busy old Saturday with a food shop, and obviously looking for a little bit of value for money here to offset recent expenditure. So I've got my coupon at the ready. So I'm excited, just picking up the bike, and you can see new wheels, new handlebars, seats being changed. I think this is new, and obviously the crank has been replaced, or the crank casing, this wiggly bit in here. Looking nice. Welcome to very early Friday morning on Bike Racing Without Mercy. Now I've had a whole load of trouble trying to get my Wahoo Bolt Element calibrated, and ultimately I figured out I got the wrong weight, wrong body weight in the system, and so I was killing myself yesterday evening trying to get up to kind of past 200 watts, but because I'd only got 29 kilograms accidentally in the system, I couldn't really get past 180 watts. And so now, with my correct 65 kilograms in the system, normal service is resumed. Nice way to calibrate. Very bracing morning, really good. Crisp, lovely, my favourite. Welcome to Saturday morning on Bike Racing Without Mercy. I'm Phil Lovett, and this is my quest to win any cycling race on Zwift. But today, that quest is taking me on yet a new path, in addition to the virtual path. Because in the real world, I'm going to take my little eBay purchase here out into London in some style, because I found a way to make riding a bike in London work for me personally. So as I've demonstrated and talked about in previous videos, the reason I focus on the Watt bike and Zwift and the virtual racing is because London is not exactly a pleasant place to cycle around. You've got the potholes, the poor quality of road, the pollution, the traffic, the stop, start, stop, start. It is horrid. Hence my focus on the virtual world. And look, I'm still going to very much be aiming to win a Cat A race on Zwift. But I've also found out that if racing's your thing, then London is actually a pretty good place to be any time of year. And that's whether it's indoor track, cyclocross, or for me, road. So now I'm a member of the British Cycling Club, and I've got a Cat 4 licence, and it's my intent to take part in the Full Gas Winter Circuit Series, which is held at the London Velo Circuit up by the Olympic Stadium. Hence, I'm pretty nervous. So as I alluded to, this eBay purchase has turned into something that's been a little bit more expensive than intended. But the guys at Bespoke Cycling have done a really amazing job in terms of the bike fit and getting the upgraded bike put together in time for me to go racing in about an hour. So now it's pretty good time to go through the spec. A Colnago C60 frame, obviously I think that's the one before the C64, which is the current one. It's pretty light. It's a 51S, and I think 51
in Colnago translates to like a 53 or a 54 frame elsewhere. It's got a Campagnolo EPS group set, electronic shifters, and I've got to say, super smooth, really silky. And that was really where the good news stopped. I've had to upgrade the handlebars, reduce the reach, reduce the length of this bit here, and I've got what's the part? 1 second, should know this. Oh dear, can't even remember the name of the damn part. It was 350 quid. Oh. Yeah, it's the. As a quick aside, you know, my various hill climbs over the summer, and at Innsbruck, and obviously Alpe d'Huez, I realised that I reckon my time's a little bit slower because I'm a novice and I don't have all the data, whether it's heart rate or power and that kind of thing. So I've also spec'd the Wahoo Element Bolt computer to the bike, and in terms of the power, I went for these Vivero Asimo Duo dual-sided power meter pedals. And again, you know, they're not cheap, but I'm kind of hoping that they're pretty versatile because I'll be able to take the pedals off and take the computer off. And when I go riding outdoors on holiday or go and hire a bike somewhere in Europe for a quick blat up a hill, I'll be able to take my power data with me. Price, £4,000 in terms of the upgrades, or a bit more than that, about £4,300 in terms of the upgrades and the computer and the pedals. £3,400 for the frame. Reassuringly, depressingly expensive. So here at the Velo Park, I had a little warm up, 3 laps, 1.6 miles. Very nice, super smooth, velvety tarmac, really good. I think it's about 15 of us racing. The level of concern is building, but really looking forward to it. Obviously I can't film on the bike, but my partner Jane's going to get a little bit of footage of me at the beginning and, you know, hopefully at the end.